Alright, hey everybody. I'm here to talk today about the thing called Joule creep or energy creep. It's basically a term in physics that's used to describe on how the energy behind a BB and Airsoft can change depending on how you set up your gun. It's really commonly associated right now with polar stars, gas guns in general. People don't really talk about it with AEGs too much. And today I'm here to talk about that concept and prove why actually it works for just about any gun as long as you build it right. And pretty well why it shouldn't exist and why people should try to get rid of it as much as possible. So, Joule creep is actually, or energy creep as it's termed, is actually a way to describe why when people use heavier BBs, they can actually get more energy out of their gun. And it's really kind of weird how it works, but it makes a lot of sense once you really think about it. So, I have a barrel here, and this is a 247 millimeter barrel, sorry. It's Prometheus. I actually milled out the hop window for a IER hop, but haven't used it. So, and I also have a stock cylinder here, which is ported for a 363 millimeter length. So it's actually a little bit over volumed, which is what causes Joule creep to start. So the way Joule creep works is that you have a, let's see if I can find one here. You have a 0.2 gram BB to start, which is what most people chronograph with normally, right? And you put that in your barrel, right? And the BB is going to get forced down the barrel by a pocket of air in the cylinder. Now, the pocket of air in the cylinder is only going to be the same amount of air that's actually in the barrel itself. It's called volume matching. So the air is going to push on the BB in the barrel until it reaches the end, in which case all the excess air that was in the cylinder is just going to get forced out behind the BB. When you put in a heavier BB in this barrel, the same thing's going to happen, except for a heavier BB is going to accelerate a little bit slower, which means it takes a little more time in the barrel, and if it's volume matched, not all of the air will still not be acting on the BB by the time it exits, because it's going to accelerate a lot slower, which means the air is going to be forced around, and it might stop, say, 3/4 of the length down the barrel. So 4.43 gram BB will stop accelerating at this point, and then start coasting. So it's going to stay at that constant rate, which is now the same amount of energy applied for the 0.2 gram BB as say a 0.43 gram BB. And that's volume match. That's how most stock guns come. That's why AEGs are usually not said to be one of the contributors to Joule creep or energy creep. With polar stars, or guns of that nature, or gas guns in general, they actually have a larger amount of air going through the barrel, sorry. A larger amount of air going through the barrel so that there's force acting upon it the entire time, including that last little section. So that way your 0.43 gram BB has all of the energy the 0.2 did, plus a little bit more because there's more air acting upon it for a longer period of time. So that being said, if we go and take a larger cylinder, say I get rid of this port here, and get a larger cylinder, so it's a larger amount of air, and then I put in the heaviest BB I can to this barrel, and then I put that in my AEG, I can actually get more energy out of that BB than I would otherwise, on a heavier BB than I would with a lighter one. So the 0.2 gram BB is going to go through and it's going to accelerate all the way to the point where it gets to the end of the barrel, in which case it's going to stop. It's going to stop accelerating, I should say. It'll keep moving, and the excess air is just going to blast out the end of the barrel because there's nothing to hold it back anymore. The 0.43 gram BB is going to utilize as much air as it can because it takes much longer time to accelerate and go through this barrel. So when it goes through, it's going to keep accelerating the whole way through with that constant amount of air for a longer period of time. And when you apply a constant pressure on something for a period of time, and then you apply that same pressure on the same object for a longer period of time, the second instance of that will have more energy than the first. So the latter will be more powerful, in which case in airsoft it'll hurt more. Alright, so with polar stars, it's also the case when you use a longer barrel. You'll notice that if you have a longer barrel, you usually shoot a little hotter and you have to tune down your air in that one. You usually have a regulator for that. That's why they use tournament locks and stuff like that, and people are banning polar stars left and right because of issues like this. So there's actually a way we can combat this, but I'll get to that later, and I actually have a little demo set up so I can show you guys an actual instance of this working. I pretty well set up my L96, which is a 550 millimeter barrel, to show you guys how this actually is going to be implemented and how the energy changes. We can do this with a few simple math equations and physics equations. You just need to you need the length of the barrel. So as long as you know that, you don't even need the volume of the cylinder to do any of that, because you have the mass of the BB, you have the initial velocity, which is 0, and then you have the final velocity, which I can measure over there with the chrono. Now, given that data, I can actually go and calculate the acceleration, assuming it's constant, assuming you have a constant pressure on it, like a linear spring. And we can also calculate the energy behind that with the mass and the final velocity. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, I'll do some more later. I'm probably gonna do a demo pretty soon, and then I'll get up another videos for you. So that being said, I just wanted to say this because a lot of people have had controversy over it. People, they hear about Joule creep, and some people say no, it doesn't exist. Some people, understand it exists, but just don't want to talk about it, and some people just ignore it entirely. So I figured to make this little video. I know that wasn't very well done, but whatever. What can you do? Yeah. That being said, thanks guys for watching, and see you later.